Hello, hello, wrestling fans. Welcome to episode 4 of Smack Talk here at Smark Out Moment. I am your host, of course, Tony Mango. Once again, we've got Chris Dace, Michael Burhan. How you guys doing today?
I've got a bit of a sore throat. Actually, I'm not. I'm fine.
Doing Days-tacular.
Dace-tacular ones. All the Dace-tacular people out there, you got to catch up.
Because he tackled his days.
Whoa.
What we're going to do today is talk basically just about Survivor Series because it doesn't seem like anything else of importance is happening this week. Doesn't matter if Rebby Sky and Matt Hardy post a nude picture. You can't see anything. Who gives a shit? Doesn't matter if Jesse Neal's leaving today because most people don't know who Jesse Neal is. Doesn't matter if Booker T's coming back because
what the hell?
That's what happens in this business. All right, so first off, Survivor Series 2011. Going right to the main event because that's what people want to hear. The Rock and John Cena versus The Miz and R-Truth. Now, right off the bat, I gotta say, I do not like this idea at all. And people are gonna be like, oh, that's a real fucking surprise because of my website. But still, I think that they missed a perfect opportunity here to have 2 Survivor Series elimination matches. And they could have had The Rock with Cena and Triple H and 2 other people. I don't know who really cares. I mean, they could have Daniel Bryan. They could have Zack Ryder's got not on the card. Fucking Zack Ryder in there. They could have done that. They had Miz and Truth team up with Diesel, and they had 2 other people that they could have thrown in there. Maybe Drew McIntyre, maybe Brodus Clay, and we'll get to him soon enough. And they could have just had a 5-on-5 right that. I mean, that's less for Cena and Rock to do, which people will be like, oh, we haven't seen that much of them. But at the same time, you don't want to do too much of Rock and Cena because they've got their big match that you have to be building up to. So having them team up right now is giving them more to do, more chances to get injured. And for what? What do you guys think?
I think you nailed it right on the head. They had such a perfect opportunity to do a real traditional Survivor Series match instead of throwing one together last minute. And I really like the less is more option with Rock and Cena. They can keep doing certain things in these promos, stuff like that, but the fact that now they're going to be in the ring, it kind of takes away a lot of the, the Rock's returning in March, or April, I'm sorry.
I just think the whole thing's been booked badly, to tell you the truth. From the whole Miz and Truth getting beaten the crap out of by Cena, to like up to this week's promo where they're just making these guys seem like the underdogs. It's just terrible. It's like the whole purpose of a heel is to make the baby face look good. Now, when you've got 2 baby faces who are squabbling between each other and just destroying the heels, what's the point of the match? It's like they're using it as a Rock and Cena warm-up match for WrestleMania.
Right. I could not agree more with that. I mean, the build for this has been shit from the very beginning when they had Cena beat Miz and Truth, and it was like, well, then why does he need The Rock? And in the process, The Rock hasn't done anything with Miz and Truth except for their little verbal squabble on Monday Night Raw this week. So The Rock really had no purpose to be there in the first place. And then if Cena can handle it on his own, or anybody else in WWE can handle it, and Miz and Truth are supposed to seem like they're these very credible, very dangerous type of people because of how they've been beating people up and everything. Well, they've just been getting squashed the past couple weeks. So that gets thrown completely out the window. To me, I know that they are into this idea of just we need to have them team up so they can fight each other sometime in the match, and either because these are the 2 options. Either they fight in the middle of the match and it costs them the match, or they fight at the end after they squash Miz and Truth. That's it.
Well, knowing WWE's trend, they're probably just going to squash Miz and Truth because they actually show potential.
Maybe they'll be all pissed off because of Maurice leaving and try to punish the Miz or something.
I don't think it's that. I think it's mostly because they're focusing more on Cena and The Rock at the moment. But the problem is they are throwing 2 guys who are totally could have been some big tag team heels on Raw, and just giving them as a throwaway heel tag team for these two guys who they think, all right, we're building this program with The Rock and Cena. We don't need to focus on these guys. We don't need to do anything with them. We'll just throw them in there and let them get squashed.
Yep.
It's kind of a superstars warm-up match on pay-per-view.
Right. Yeah. This warm-up match, and that's the great way to put it. I know it's going to go on last because it's The Rock, and oh my God, The Rock is so awesome, and all this kind of crap. But don't get that wrong too. I do like The Rock. It's just I hate when they do this kind of bullshit where they add something and it's not going to be great, and they make it the main event of everything. That's pisses me off. But this is going to be the main event of the night, and if you end it with anything but Rock and Cena fighting each other, people are going to be pissed off. But the only way you can have Cena and Rock fight each other is to do those two options. I mean, they're not going to lose clean to Miz and Truth, and Miz and Truth walk away, and then they fight because it's like, hey, you lost the match, and you screwed me up, because they're just not going to have them lose. You know that they're not going to have Rock and Cena lose to Miz and Truth, especially since The Rock is not going to want to come back and get pinned and then look weak facing Cena. Cena's not going to want to look weak facing Rock, and Cena never loses anyway. So, so if you have these two options, and those are your only two options, then what bothers me about those type of matches is I don't even really need to see it anymore.
Yeah. It's not even the one, like, it's exciting that The Rock's coming back and finally getting a match after 7 years, but that's not the match I'm looking forward to this weekend. It's going to be neat. It's going to be it's going to take you back to that childish feeling you used to have when The Rock came out and, did the rock bottom and stuff, but I just feel like it could have been so much more, and they're really dropping the ball on it.
That's the thing as well. It's just lazy booking, really. They're booking the whole thing around The Rock to hope that he draws the crowd in, and that he gets like 1 million buys like WrestleMania got. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to the whole Rock and Cena scenario, the only way that I would be satisfied is say, like, do you remember when Rhodes and Holly were like a tag team?
Right.
And DiBiase was going all this thing about his tag team partner, and he's got someone that is able to beat Rhodes and Holly and capture the tag team titles. And then it turned out to be Rhodes that turned on his partner. I want something like that, even if it was just like mid-match or right at the end of the match where Cena just turns, and have him sort of go full circle to this big bad heel and have him work with Laurinaitis, and
I would
basically out heel The Rock, just go totally mad, because you need a heel face dynamic for The Rock versus Cena at Mania anyway, because it's not going to work being a face versus face match.
Well, by default, John Cena becomes the heel, not only because they're in Miami, but because it's John Cena. He's going to get booed if he's facing Tyler Rex.
Yeah. And one thing I noticed WWE did, and I don't know if this was intentional or just a awesome coincidence, Cena, for the first time, has a black shirt. It's not colorful. It's not like flamboyant. It's not like cheerful colors. It's just black with text, which is not a normal Cena product.
Yeah, it goes against the Fruity Pebble idea.
Yeah.
Unless they've got Cocoa Pebbles mixed in that. I don't remember. But no, a lot of people keep talking about the Cena heel turn, and I've always been kind of supportive of it because I think that it would be a good change of character, but I never really thought it necessarily could happen, and I don't think it's necessarily going to happen here either. But if they do decide to turn him heel, other than at WrestleMania, I think this would be the other opportune moment, because having him as a heel for the next, what is it, 5 months, 4 months? What are we talking about here?
Probably about 5.
Somewhere around there. Well, actually, you wouldn't even necessarily need to worry about the next couple of months. Basically, the next 2 months, because you need to knock out TLC and Royal Rumble, and then another more month for Elimination Chamber. But other than that, you've got the Raw and SmackDown people working together, so you can always add a couple more faces from SmackDown to pop over. You've got CM Punk, who's clearly made his way to the top as a main event babyface now, so you can put a little bit more burden on his shoulders. Plus, he's probably going to win the title anyway. We'll get to that soon. I think if they were to turn Cena heel, not only would it be really good for the storyline because they went an opposite route from the two possible choices that I think that they're going to go, but it would solidify that you're supposed to cheer for The Rock instead of just making it look like this is embarrassing. Nobody is cheering for John Cena at WrestleMania. And
Yeah.
of course, like I've mentioned before, I think that they would be really missing an opportunity to not have John Cena as a heel against The Undertaker at WrestleMania for next year, but you got to take it as it goes. If he turns heel, I don't know about mid-match, though. That's the thing, because they can't throw away the whole match, but they can't really have him. Huh.
Well, it's the only way that Miz and Truth are going to come off strong out of this whole thing. You know, you can't literally have Cena and Rock dominate throughout the whole match, you know, or have Miz and Truth like attack John Cena and The Rock on the match or look strong in this match because they've literally had their asses handed to them throughout the whole of the course of this feud, and they've made to look like the second fiddle to The Rock and Cena. So having it any other way, it's just not going to make sense. It's just going to look really bad.
Well, are you meaning that he would turn heel and align himself with Miz and Truth, or just turn heel, period?
I think have him align with Miz and Truth would be the best idea. Like as I said, the Cody Rhodes incident, because you could have John Cena as like the biggest pro WWE universe guy go full circle and become because Punk even hinted that the guy is like this establishment person. He's kisses ass and wants to does all these shenanigans behind the scenes. What a great way to actually like have everything that Punk said there come true, and Cena, actually is this guy, show his true colors to the WWE universe. People are still going to boo him. Merchandise is still going to fly off the shelves anyway because he's Cena, and a lot of the smarks out there are going to be sitting there going, "Oh my god, he's turned heel. I need to buy a T-shirt."
Right.
Yeah.
The
I
same
mean,
people that bitch about little kids cheering for John Cena are definitely going to be the ones that would buy the shirt immediately.
yeah, and I
Exactly.
think
I could see his sales like triple
yeah.
because of it.
And remember in 05 when Hogan and Michaels did that program through the summer? That was some of the best promos I remember seeing when they did the temporary Michaels heel turn, where he did the whole super kick to Hogan and knocked him right off his feet, and then people like booed him because he kicked an icon. And then he did that whole thing in Montreal where he played Brett's music and just laughed at them the entire time. And then he did that awesome promo where he was pretending to be Hulkster on Larry King.
Oh, that was brilliant.
And I'm hoping they do the same thing with Cena. That would be a huge, like, personally, and I'm starting to come around to the guy more and more that he's moving towards this Rock feud. I would completely just turn and be like, oh my God, this is, okay, Cena's actually kind of cool.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say like a fan of John Cena. But I don't want to say I'm not a fan either. I'm about 50-50 on him. I like the guy, but I hate how he's booked.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? If he were more, it's kind of the Triple H factor. If you were to ask me, do I like Triple H? Yeah, I think he's a future Hall of Famer, one of the best that they've ever had. But damn it, I don't fucking like Triple H because he's that same kind of thing. I'm tired of seeing the same stuff, and I'm tired of seeing him win every match and not look bad and all that. Meanwhile, somebody like an Edge or Chris Jericho or not Triple H, Shawn Michaels, even Undertaker at times, that they're willing to lose and everything. And John Cena is willing to lose now and then. And when he does do that, I tend to like him more. So when he's booked in these spots where the Miz and Truth come out and then get their asses handed to them by just John Cena, and we're supposed to go, oh, Cena really needs help. He should get The Rock. Bullshit. He doesn't need any help. He's John Cena. You're going to get booked to win every fucking match anyway. And yeah, you're not supposed to know that he's booked to win the matches, but give me a break,
Exactly. That whole him squashing Miz and Truth, it should have just been Miz and Truth every week, and we would have got tired of that. But at least every week if they came out and beat his ass to the point where he wasn't walking away, it'd be a little bit more like, yeah, he kind of needs The Rock.
Right, yeah. And you know what they really should have done? They should have had something to imply the Rock idea in the first place. First week, you have John Cena get his ass kicked by Miz and Truth. Second week, Cena takes the fight to them, can't do it, gets his ass kicked. Third week, you have some kind of I don't know, maybe like another one of those live via satellite appearances. And in the middle of it, power goes out. What the hell happened? Oh, it's the Miz and Truth. They took out the power and they're saying, this is our time, whatever. Now, Rock can do another thing the next week and be like, hey, you assholes, what the hell do you think you're doing here? And then it could be sort of like, I don't like Cena, but damn it, you're pissing me off.
Mm-hmm.
And then you build a little thing like that, and then Cena just goes, you know what, Rock, how about you show up at Survivor Series and you help me out, and we take the fight to these guys, and I mean that right there, I didn't even think of this until a minute ago, and I gotta say, I mean, I'm not going to toot my own horn here, but I think that's a much better setup than what we had at WWE.
I would have taken it another way. I would have had it so that, Cena was getting beaten up. Laurinaitis gives Cena the Rock as his partner. And then Cena's like, oh, I can do it on my own. I can do it on my own. He's getting his ass handed to him. And then, the Rock comes down, saves Cena, gives him a rock bottom, tells him that, he'll be his partner, see at Survivor Series, Fruity Pebble Bitch or something like that. Then have The Rock sort of cut a promo on location somewhere and have the Miz and Truth actually go and hand his ass to him as well. So it's like one guy says they don't need the other, but they have to rely on each other and unite as a team in order to stop this menace that is Miz and Truth. You know, that way the heels are built up, they look really strong. You have the odds stacked against Rock and Cena, so they look like the underdog, which they're supposed to look like. And then you can have a clean cut match at Survivor Series after all this big build and have The Rock and Cena like go over Miz and Truth. It would have been easier that way, rather than because what they're doing at the moment, they've made them look so strong. The match looks like a throwaway match, and there's no other possible way to go around it. You cannot book Miz and Truth strong in this match without making them look stupid, and you've built Rock and Cena, you've protected them so much that they're in a position now where if they don't deliver, or if there isn't some kind of shenanigans that screwed one of the guys over, or something in this match, it's just not going to be. It won't be worthy of being a main event on the card. And truthfully, it isn't worthy of being a main event on the card. I see this as a mid card match at the moment, just the way it's been booked.
One of the mid card main event kind of things.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It would go. I would say it's a right under Dolph Ziggler's US title defense. That's how bad this match has been booked. And it's as I said before, I don't believe it's the Rock or Cena's fault. I believe it's lazy booking. I think that Vince has just left it to these guys to sell the pay-per-view based on the Rock star power and the fact that the fans want to see Rock versus Cena,
Well,
which they shouldn't have done.
Talking about lazy booking, this past episode of Raw, my God, I don't know about you guys, but I thought that was terrible.
Yeah, I wasn't very impressed.
The whole episode, I mean, people are complaining about the Foley segment, and I was really excited for the Foley segment because I'm a huge fan of Foley, and I figured it would be funny and everything, but it was just awful. And he's defended it by saying the point was supposed to be that it was awful, and the Rock saves us from it and everything, which yeah, it makes sense. But at the same time, that ate up 15 minutes worth of my time.
15 minutes you never get back.
Right, and so did all of the rest of the night, which was pretty bad. I mean, you could tell right off the bat from that the whole build for the whole Monday Night Raw episode was just The Rock is going to be here. The Rock is going to be here. The Rock is going to be here. Here's some matches to keep you busy. But The Rock's going to be here, right? Let me show you how The Rock is going to be here. And you got to promote it because it's your big thing, and that's going to get what people tune in for. But at the same time, that's the reason that I stopped watching wrestling back in 2000. I was just sick and tired of every single segment being, but remember what The Rock just did? Oh, we'll show you what The Rock just did, and we're going to talk about Stone Cold. And then while we're talking about Stone Cold, we'll tell you about what The Rock did. And then let's go to this headbangers match, but in the middle of the match, we're just going to talk about Rock and Stone Cold, and then we're going to talk about them again, and then again, and then again, and here they are. Oh my God. I get so tired of seeing that with anybody. It wouldn't even matter if it was Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, my two favorites of all time. After, the third time of watching it on that episode, I don't give a shit anymore. I know you're going to show it to me on NXT. I know you're going to show it to me on Superstars. I know you're going to show it to me at WWE.com and on SmackDown and again on Raw. I don't need to see that 14 times in a week, especially if you're supposed to be targeting me to become a fan to watch all of your shows. Then I don't need to see recaps because I've watched the show.
Yeah, it drove me nuts tonight on SmackDown when they aired pretty much the entire segment at the end of Raw on SmackDown instead of like a match.
That is exactly why I DVR every episode of Raw and SmackDown, and I start watching it an hour after it started, which is why I don't tweet during the shows because I'm an hour behind. But if I start at 9 o'clock at an episode of Raw, it's going to end up being a waste of time compared to me starting it at 10 o'clock and being able to skip through all the commercials and all of the recaps and all of the, well, not the Divas matches, but
His break.
Right, all of the piss poor type of stuff. Like, I don't want to sit there and watch another backstage thing with Hornswoggle doing nothing. I don't care. I don't find it funny. Let me just get those 2 minutes back. And if you've got some repetitive segment like the Oksana stuff, I know what's going to be said. Oksana is going to flirt with Teddy. He's going to get all flustered. Then she's going to leave. All right. So that's why I have to skip forward through all these things. And this Rock and Cena feud they've just been pounding that stuff. And it gets to the point where I no longer want to see the match. So this main event to me means nothing at all.
Yeah, I think Foley kind of tried to put a band-aid on the whole thing and just made it look even worse. Because we've all seen this is your life segment so many times. For me, it was just such a turn off. As soon as he said "This is your life" to John Cena, I was just like, "Oh God, really?" I sat through it, and it was just got bad to worse. Then The Rock came down, gave him a rock bottom. And for me, it was even worse than that. He didn't say anything, just gave the rock bottom to Mick Foley, and then it continued just on a downward spiral. Really, it did nothing to elevate the pay-per-view. And this is what I keep saying with the WWE. It's like as soon as The Rock was mentioned for Survivor Series, it just turned lazy. The whole booking of the whole event turned lazy. And, they've literally just done nothing to build up the card. Dolph Ziggler's wrestling in 2 matches. That's probably the main thing that I want to see on Survivor Series, because he's done such a great job on the last pay-per-view, with the tag team match and then defending the title against Zack Ryder. I want to see the US title match, and I want to see Team Barrett versus Team Orton. I don't want to see the main event. I don't want to see The Rock versus Cena. I don't want to see Del Rio versus Punk. I don't want to see Mark Henry versus Big Show, because they've done such a poor job booking these matches that I've just lost interest in them.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. The build for the main events has been less than the build for these what's mid-card and opening matches. The whole Wade Barrett versus Orton teams, I feel there was more build there. That even though it was kind of hastily thrown together, and I think they could have did it a little bit better, I feel there's more substance to that than there is for the Rock Cena.
Yeah, at least Barrett looks credible, even though they're then only now just give him a winning streak up to this match, because he's getting like a couple of wins over the main eventers like Sheamus and Orton. But at least it's something interesting. You think, all right, this hasn't been done before. Something's going on here. Barrett's, for some reason, is getting elevated, so there might be a title push coming for him. So you want to see if his team wins, or you want to see if there's a stable starting to like develop from this whole situation. Then you look at like Henry, who, for God's sake, I don't know why they keep doing this, kept going on destroying Daniel Bryan and picking on him like he's a small child, throughout the whole thing. And there was no focus on the Big Show. And then the Big Show's like, acting like he's in the schoolyard. Ooh, cash the money in the bank, cash it in. Go on, don't worry, I laid him out. It's fine. And then just getting Brian just used as thrown away fodder. It's the same thing that happened to him in the Sin Cara feud. And you've literally got this thing, and it hasn't built up the main event for their match at all. It's just made the Big Show and Henry just look like two small children who are fighting over this belt. It doesn't give the belt any credibility. Henry doesn't look credible. Show don't look credible. If you really wanted to continue the feud, why didn't you add Brian in there for a three-way dance, or have Brian, defeat Henry because of Show's interference?
Well, we'll talk a little bit about the Brian Daniel Bryan stuff when we get to the match. Sum this up real quick. Who do you think is going to win the match? I mean, it's kind of moot to ask, but we're going to do this for all of them. Rock and John Cena or Miz and Truth? I got to go
with
John Cena.
Miz Truth.
I'm going to go with Miz Truth as well.
Yeah, I still believe there's going to be some sort of screw job finish with either The Rock or Cena.
You think that they'll either do the fight and then lose, or somebody else comes out and interrupts or something like that?
Yeah, even if it's Nash, something's going to happen that's going to cause this match, these two to lose the match, because they've been built up. If you're looking at booking 101 standards, they've been built up to lose.
Right, so, you have to do the switch eventually. If they do lose, I'm going to go on record on saying that the idea of Kevin Nash coming out and making them lose does sound like a good option. So if that happens,
yeah, it has to, because you've got to, he's already deep into this whole Laurinaitis thing anyway, so he might as well go out there and help them, do something, because he's not on the card anyway, and they've been building him up, and he needs to be on the card in some form or another.
Yeah. I mean, the only way we could probably I'm going to go with Miz and Truth, but the only way to salvage the match, to give any interest for me, is if, Kevin Nash came out and beat the hell out of everybody with Hornswoggle or something. Just something so bizarre, like, did that really just happen? That's the only way you're going to catch my attention.
If Kevin Nash can powerbomb Hornswoggle, I will be fine with whatever WWE does for any pay-per-view, as long as that's on it.
Yeah. That should be replayed throughout the whole pay-per-view.
Right. That I would be okay with watching over and over and over again. I'm officially going to go on record and saying I have little doubt in my mind that they are going to spend the time to think of something as intricate as Kevin Nash come out and win the match for Miz and Truth. I'm getting my expectations very, very low that it's just going to be The Rock and Cena beat the shit out of Miz and Truth and just win, and then they fight each other, and that's it. So when we go into part 2, we're going to go right to the WWE Championship match, Alberto Del Rio versus CM Punk. Stay tuned.